Hello and welcome to SabiScholar learning platform. I am Etis Manuel, your economics tutor, and it is an honor to be the one to guide you to helping you make that great grades you're looking for when it comes to this particular subject. I assure you that you chose the right platform. Welcome on board SabiScholar learning platform. So, what is our first topic when it comes to this very subject? Economics as a science. First, let's look at basic concepts. What's the first concept we're going to look at? Wants. This can be defined as insatiable desires or needs by people to own goods or services that would be satisfactory. Human needs are insatiable because the means for satisfying them are either scarce or limited. Now remember that needs and wants are two different things. Now what is the difference between needs and wants? Needs, you actually cannot survive without these things. But for wants, you can go without them. You can survive without them. You can live your life without them. You just want to get them as an added advantage. But for needs, you actually need these things to survive. Let's look at scarcity. This can be defined as the limited supply of resources which are used for the satisfaction of unlimited human wants. It can also be viewed as the inability of human beings to provide themselves with their numerous wants or needs. Scarcity is a fundamental problem in economics because resources are limited in relation to the ends, which are unlimited. Now, people try to solve this problem of scarcity by drawing a scale of preference. Now, let's talk about the scale of preference. This is a list of wants arranged in order of priorities or importance. You want certain things or you need certain things at this moment, but what do? You get to list them in order of importance. This is most important, so let me get it first. This is least important, so I'll get it last. For instance, as a student, right now you need food, you need water, you need to buy a new dress for a party, and then what else can we say you need? You need a shoe. So what will be your most important thing at the moment? Will you say it is the food you need? Will you say it's the water you need to buy? Will you say it's the shoe or the dress? So you arrange them in order of importance. My scale of preference may be different from your scale of preference. First, I would say, okay, let me go with food as the most important at the moment. Another person may say, okay, I really need this dress to go to work so I can be able to get some money to buy food. Now, your scale of preference is different. The situation we find ourselves is quite different. So you get it. Now, let's talk about some of the importance of the scale of preference. We have A, ranking of needs. I had mentioned that. It helps you rank your needs. B, financial prudence. It helps you know what to spend on. C, rational choice. It helps you to choose like a human being who is working with his brain. D, efficient utilization of limited resources. You do not have so much money, but you need to satisfy your immediate needs, so it helps you choose. E, maximization of satisfaction. You need to get maximal satisfaction from the limited resources you have. The next concept is opportunity cost. Now, this can be described as the satisfaction of one want at the expense of another want. It is the alternative want or commodity forgone. Now, you should not mistake opportunity cost for money cost. Money cost is the total amount of money spent in order to acquire a set of goods and services. Think about what opportunity cost is. Remember, I had prepared the list, right? I said, okay, for instance, for myself, I could say food is most important. Do not call me a foodie. But now, instead of buying the dress or the shoe, I had to buy food. Now, the dress or the shoe I did not buy is the opportunity cost for me getting the food. So what you sacrificed in order to get another thing is the opportunity cost. It's that simple. So now I wanted to get food, I had to sacrifice the shoe. You know, the opportunity cost for me getting food is the shoe that I did not buy. Good and fine. You understand that now. Another concept is rationality. This can be referred to as a decision-making process where people behave in rational ways and consider options and decisions within logical structures of thought as opposed to involving emotional, moral, or psychological elements. Now, you are thinking as someone who has his brains with him. You're weighing your options. Okay, if I eat the food today, I'm going to have strength to go to work tomorrow. But okay, if I do not have a dress, I'm not going to be able to go to work. If I do not have a shoe, I'm not going to be able to go to work. Okay, I work remotely, so I do not really need that dress at the moment. I'm just going to eat and then have the energy to make more money. So you think about this as a human being who has his brain and not just thinking, okay, I think I just need this dress because I want to look good and all of that. No, no, no. You think about it as it is. Let's talk about production as one other concept. What is production? This is the process in which various inputs or activities involving creation of outputs or goods and services have formed to satisfy human wants. Now that sounds like a lot of English, but let me just break it down for you. Yes, that is why I'm here to guide you. Production is all about the conversion of raw materials into finished goods for the satisfaction of human wants. Yes, you staying in your kitchen, converting all of those ingredients, yes, putting them together, and then creating amazing, delicious meals for the satisfaction of your family wants. I could say you're a producer, can't I? Good. That is what production is all about. You bring in pieces of raw materials together, converting them into finished goods that they can satisfy human wants. That is production. Let's now talk about types of goods. So we have basically two types of goods. We have the consumer goods and then we have the producer or capital goods. Consumer goods. What are the consumer goods? These are goods and services that satisfy consumers' immediate needs. Now, they are further divided into two groups, that we have the durable goods and the non-durable goods. We could say we have the perishable goods and the non-perishable goods. Now, the durable goods are the goods that actually last for a long time. And then the non-durable goods, those ones that do not last for long. That means they can perish, like your tomatoes, your vegetables. We also have the producer or capital goods. These are goods desired not for their direct use, but for the assistance to give in further production of other goods. They can't satisfy human wants directly. Now, we're talking about you producing stuff in your kitchen, right? Now, you bought flour. You want to make pancakes. You do not need that flour because it can just satisfy your need immediately. You can just take flour and begin to put in your mouth and eat it. You need it to assist you produce the pancake. That is what we are talking about. These producer goods actually help you as a producer to produce further goods and services that will satisfy human wants. Types of production. What are the types of production we have? First, let's look at direct production. It's a type of production where an individual produces goods and services solely for the use and consumption of the family. Like in farming, in agriculture, you say it's subsistence farming. They are not for sale as they are for family use and are produced in small quantities, and then you get to use family labor. Let's look at the next type, indirect production. Here, production of goods and services are produced in large scale, mainly for sale or exchange of other needs. It involves the use of modern equipment and skilled labor to make large quantities of products that they will exchange to get money, which they can further use to satisfy other wants. Now, this type of production can further be divided into these subgroups. We have the primary production, secondary production, and of course, the tertiary production. Let's talk about factors that determine the volume of production. What is going to determine how much of a product you produce? First, the amount of capital. The amount of capital you have is definitely going to determine whether you produce in small quantities or in large quantities. You want to produce your pancake, right? How much money do you have for your flour? It's going to help you know what quantity to produce. Availability of raw materials. We said flour is very essential for the production of your pancake. If you do not see the flour, can you produce that pancake that day? Not particularly, except you're going to have another alternative, and I doubt if at the end you're going to be producing the pancake you wanted to produce. Management. The management can also influence your production volume. We have the market size. The size of the market, that's the people you want to sell to, the people who need this product. It can determine if you're just producing for a limited size of the market or a limited population in the market, you're not going to produce as large as if it were for the whole market. Let's talk about the next, efficiency of other factors of production. Other factors of production, remember that all factors of production come together when you're producing, and that gets to help. Okay, do you have enough labor? You want to produce pancakes for like 500 people. Can you do it alone? Do you have the resources? Do you have the capital? Do you have the space to stay there to fry all of that? Do you have the equipment? And all of those things are going to come together. Do you have labor? Do you have people to work for you to produce that? Let's talk about the level of technology. We're still talking about pancakes. Are you going to be frying using the fireplace? Are you going to be frying using hot plates? Are you going to be frying using electric stoves and all of that? So the level of technology is going to limit or is going to increase the volume of production. Let's talk about storage facilities. Like now you're producing in large volumes. Can you store them? Do you have where you can keep those goods before they get out to the final consumers? The last but one on this very list is nature of goods. The nature of goods is going to determine the quantity you produce. For perishable goods, you're just producing goods enough for the market at that point in time. Then later you get to produce again. So it's going to limit the volume of production. Let's talk about the importance of production right now. What are the importance of production in any economy? Availability of goods and services. Production gets to make goods and services available to the consumers. B, improvement in the standard of living. You get to improve your standard of living because you eat what you want, you wear what you want, you look like how you want to look, you use all the fancy gadgets you want to use. That's because of production. Provision of employment. Because of production, some people are employed, people are making money, people are feeding off the benefits of production. Increase in wealth of people. As a result of this employment, they get to make money. As a result of this production, the owners of the companies get to earn money and increase their wealth. Increase in export potential. Because of production, we can have what to send out to other countries. And now acquisition of skills. Because of production, you get to acquire skills either as a worker, as a manager, or whichever skill you need to work in that very aspect. Now, remember, I mentioned something important, factors of production. That is what we're talking about right now. What are these factors of production? Those are simply the things that you need to produce goods and services, and there are basically four of them. We have land, we have labor, we have capital, and entrepreneurship. So land, you know what land is. And what is the reward for land? The reward for land is rent. What is the reward for labor? The reward for labor is wages or salary. What is the reward for capital? The reward for capital is interest. And what is the reward for entrepreneurship? The reward for entrepreneurship is profit. Now let's move to the next concept, distribution. This is the process of storing and moving goods to the consumers through intermediaries such as wholesalers and retailers. Simply put, you're just taking these goods and services to whoever needs them. You produced your pancake in your kitchen. Now, how do you take them to the sitting room where these people need them to, the dining room rather, where your family needs them to eat them? So let's forget about that scenario, but we are talking about where you're moving these products you have produced from wherever they are produced to the final consumers using what is known as the channels of distribution. That's the next thing we are going to consider under this very concept, channels of distribution. This refers to the path through which goods move from the producer or manufacturer to the final consumers. Now, this is how the channel of distribution follows. We have the manufacturer. From the manufacturer, it moves to the wholesaler. From the wholesaler, it moves to the retailer, and then it moves to the final consumer. Another thing we have to consider under this concept is process of distribution. What is the process of distribution? This involves all human and physical means which aid the smooth transfer of goods from the manufacturer to the final consumers. Now, what does this process include? The process of distribution are as follows. 1, we have the middlemen. Remember, we had mentioned middlemen earlier. We have the wholesalers and the retailers. These people help to take it there. We have transportation. What is transportation? You remember the movement of goods and people from one place to the other. So it facilitates this distribution process. Advertisement. Remember, you have friends who on Facebook, who on WhatsApp, on Instagram, they're always like, okay, please help me share this link. Let people click so they can patronize me. Can you advertise my business or help repost this? Advertisement, trying to tell people about your business, trying to tell people about what you do. Warehousing, simply storing these goods until they are ready to be taken to the final consumers. Let's now look at something very important. The difference in function between the wholesaler and the retailers in the distribution of commodities. What are their functions? What's the difference between the functions of the retailer and the wholesaler in the distribution of commodities? Let's talk about the wholesaler and the retailer at the same time. First, the wholesaler buys in large quantities from the manufacturer and sells in small quantities to the retailer. And then the retailer buys in small quantities from the wholesaler and sells to the final consumers. Number 2, the wholesaler requires a large space, that's warehouse, to store his goods, while the retailer requires a small space, a shop, to display his wares. Number 3, the wholesaler stocks limited variety of goods in his warehouse, while the retailer stocks several varieties of goods in his shop, making it possible for the consumers to make their choices. Number 4, the wholesaler acts as an intermediary between the retailer and the manufacturer, while the retailer acts as an intermediary between the wholesaler and the final consumers. Number 5, the wholesaler interacts freely with the manufacturer, while the retailer relates freely with the final consumers. Number 6 as the last, the wholesaler provides useful information about the goods to the manufacturer, while the retailer provides useful information to the manufacturer concerning market situations of their product. And this is done by communicating with the wholesaler and, of course, communicating with the final consumers. So we have come to the end of this very video. I would want to implore you to please take some time to understand all that was taught in this video and prepare yourself for the next video.